Happy Mystery Monday. Do you think you can solve my riddle today? Let's find out.
When I have a worry-filled mind, I like to wander outside. No telling what we might find. Birds calling, worms crawling, leaves falling down from above. Oh, I plant my feet on the ground. I keep my head in the clouds. I let my feelings out loud. I hear joy calling, fear crawling, tears falling down out of love.
Welcome, friends. I'm so glad you're here. Let's start by taking a moment to check in with our zones. Our zones of regulation help us identify how our body and our mind are feeling in the moment. If you're feeling tired or moving slowly, you may be in the blue zone. You may need to find something to energize your body or your brain. If you are feeling comfortable and clear-headed, you're probably in the green zone, ready to go. If you are feeling a little distracted or worried, then you're in the yellow zone, maybe needing to take a moment to pause or recenter yourself. Or if you are feeling like you are out of control and you can't really think clearly or make safe or kind choices, then you're probably in the red zone. And you might want to take a break. You might want to step away from other people. You might want to just take a minute to yourself. Sometimes all you need is a sip of water. Sometimes you might need to take some time outside or go ahead and find something that helps calm your body and clear your head. So think for a moment, what color are you in right now? Our zones can change from minute to minute sometimes and throughout the day. And so I'm asking you to just check in right now with yourself. I'll do the same. And then you can grab an object that shows that color zone that you're feeling. Maybe you can see my object. It's a small rock-shaped object. It's fuzzy and soft. And hopefully you see the color too. It is green. Right now I feel focused. I feel clear-headed. I know my job. I have a plan. And so I'm feeling pretty settled. What about you? Thanks so much for sharing with me, and thank you for taking the time to find an object. You can keep that object with you, or you can put it back where you found it, whatever you'd like to do. It's time for us to check on the date. Today, where I am, it is 10/25/21, and Fig knows that that means it is October 25th, 2021. It might be a different day for you. That's okay. You can always go up a number or so if you need. Before we get started, I want us to check in with Fig and see what exercise you think we'll be doing today. I see that they have both of their legs up in some way, their arms as well. Maybe you have some guesses. When Fig shows us a move, we usually take some time to figure it out. We may not know, and that's okay, but we can make some observations. We can notice how their body is shaped and think about if our body was shaped like that, what it might mean, what type of exercise we might be doing. So you can take some time to think about that, and we'll start off with 10 spin jumps. And I think spin jumps are so fun and so energizing. So if you are feeling like you are in the blue zone, this might really help wake up your brain and wake up your body. You can do spin jumps, of course, by standing up, spinning and jumping at the same time. Or if you think that would be uncomfortable or make you too dizzy, you can sit and you can do little hops in your seat and spin your finger. You can get creative and do spin jumps that work well for you. Let's do 10 spin jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we have to figure out what fig is showing us. We're going to do 25. Oh, runs in place. Oh, I can see that. Maybe you figured it out too. We're going to do 25 seconds of running in place. So you may run faster or slower than me. It's okay if you get more runs or fewer runs than 25, but we'll do it for the count of 25. Let's get started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Oh, awesome running. We have just one final exercise to do. That is 21 arm circles. So you can stick your arms out nice and straight. We're going to rotate them in circles. You can do it one at a time, both together, forwards or backwards, whatever feels good. Let's do 21 arm circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Fantastic. Let's take some big deep breaths to help cool down our body or recenter us. Maybe we're feeling energized and feeling more awake. That's great. I want to make sure that we're feeling ready for our next steps too. So let's breathe together. Fantastic. Thanks so much for moving around with me and then doing some breathing to get us set and ready to move on. I asked at the beginning of this episode if you thought you could solve my riddle today. So let's get straight to this message and find out a little bit more about what we can do to solve a riddle or be good detectives. Dear marvelous and magical humans, do you know what it takes to be a good detective? You must be observant and look and listen carefully. You must be patient and thoughtful, not jumping to conclusions too quickly. You must be creative and clever, taking all of your thoughts and knowledge to try and make sense of things. Well, my dear detectives, do I have a mystery for you? Let's listen to a riddle and see if we can discover what is hidden in the mystery box. Love, Mrs. A. Detectives, before we solve this riddle, you can use some of your detective skills to notice alliterations in this message. Alliterations are when there are words next to each other or really close by that start with the same letter or sound. Are you able to spot any? Yeah, there are several hidden in here today. You can keep looking if you haven't gotten them all yet. Good detectives also practice, practice, practice. Now, as I said, I have a riddle that will help us figure out what is in this mystery box. But I first need to use a little bit of magic to get this riddle up here so that you help me. Maybe some of you are getting ready for Halloween. Maybe you are going to be witches and wizards and you're going to have to use some magic. And so I would love if you can help stir up that magic. and we're going to do a snap on 3. It's okay if you don't know how to snap yet. Now's a great time to practice. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much for helping me with that magic trick. Let's listen to our riddle today. You can read along, you can follow along, just listen and think carefully. Mystery riddle. I can be used with paint and stamped. When you put me in a bushel, I might get cramped. I come in a variety of colors. I'm a tasty tree treasure to discover. I can be eaten raw, made into drinks, or baked into a treat. I'm crunchy and I'm sweet. What am I? Why don't you take some time to think? What could be in this, very heavy mystery box? It sounds like there are many things in there. Maybe you hear that. They're almost rolling around. And as I said, this is quite heavy. Last week we had some leaves in here. Those were very light. This is the opposite. This is very heavy today. Do you have any guesses of what it can be? It can be used with paint and stamped. You can put them in a bushel, lots of colors. You can eat them. They're crunchy. Oh, yes! I think you got it. Apples! Friends, look at all of the different color apples here. And they're also different sizes. This apple is dark and not too big. This apple is lighter and greener, a little bit bigger. This apple is more yellow, a little bit of red, and really big. This apple is small, but it has 2 colors as well. I love all of these different sizes and shapes, all of the different colors and flavors that apples have. Maybe you like apples too. These are reminding me of how nature is so generous and abundant. Abundant means that there is more than enough. And nature gives us apples. Apples grow on trees. And we don't give trees much back in return for these apples. They do use some of the air we breathe out to grow, but they also get that from other creatures. And they just need sun and water, and they give us these delicious treats. And so I was thinking about how nature is so abundant and so generous, freely giving of their treasures. And it reminded me of this book that I have here that I'm really excited to share with you. It is called In a Jar. Let me get it up for us. And this book, In a Jar, is written and illustrated by Deborah Marcaro. And I love this book for so many reasons. First, it has really stunning illustrations, and you know I'm a big fan of beautiful illustrations. Secondly, it reminds me of all of the generous and beautiful and wonderful gifts of nature. And the third reason I love it is because you'll see there's a character in here that makes a friend, and then their friend moves away. But this book reminds me of the ways that we can be generous, and we can take some inspiration from nature in order to stay connected with people that may not be physically close to us anymore, or in order to just help cheer people up. So we'll read just a few pages from In a Jar, but I really recommend you check this out. Let me show you some of the beautiful illustrations before we get started. In a Jar by Deborah Marcaro. We'll meet this character, Llewellyn, and Llewellyn loves to go out and collect things from nature. So many different things, so many beautiful scenes. And Llewellyn meets a friend, Evelyn, and this is the first page we'll share together. From then on, Llewellyn and Evelyn collected things together. They collected things hard to hold, like rainbows, the sound of the ocean, and the wind just before snow falls. They collected things you might not think would even fit in a jar, but somehow they did. On this page, I'm also reminded about creativity. We may not be able to really collect the wind before a snowfall and keep it in a jar, but we can use our imaginations and think of those memories. Another reason I really love this book. Over time, their jars filled the walls of Llewellyn's house. Make some observations here, detectives. What are some things that you see in these jars lining the walls? There are so many things they've collected. Another reminder of nature's abundance. As I mentioned, Llewellyn's friend Evelyn moves away. And that part is pretty sad and difficult for Llewellyn. But then, the next day, he prepared a package. When the box arrived and Evelyn opened the jar, the stars in the night sky fell around her. So Llewellyn was missing his friend, and do you know what he did? He did what they usually do together. He went out and collected something beautiful from nature. He collected the night sky, and the stars were able to be brought to Evelyn in her new home. And she had that great memory of being out in the starry night sky with Llewellyn. And if you can believe it, even more happens in this book, and there are many, many more examples and beautiful illustrations of nature's abundance and beauty. And so I don't want to give it all away. But I would definitely suggest you get this from your library or your bookstore. It is a really incredibly beautiful book. And it's one of those books that you can use to inspire you if you're feeling stuck or not sure what to do. And it's also a book that might just help you think of creative ways to enjoy nature and to be a generous friend. All right, my friends, if you would help me one more time with your magic. On the count of 3, I'm going to ask you to snap again so we can remove this riddle, because I want to make sure you can see lots of things around me for our mindful moment. Will you help me? 1, 2, 3. Thanks so much. Okay, for our mindful moment today, I was actually inspired by our book In a Jar, and I would like us to do some mindful looking. Since we're practicing being detectives, we're going to make some observations and notice things around us. And what I'd like us to do today is look for colors in the rainbow. And the rainbow has many, many colors. Maybe you've seen a rainbow before. But there's a little acronym or a fun way to remember the colors of the rainbow. And it goes like this: Roy, G, Biv. And that stands for red in Roy, orange, yellow, and then G is green, and then Biv is blue, indigo, violet. So there are many colors that we can be looking for. Roy, G, Biv. When we take our mindful moment, it won't be too long. We'll just do it for a minute. So if you're unable to find something that represents every single color, that's okay. But I'd just like you to practice making those mindful and careful observations, building those detective skills, and really helping your brain to be present and focused on just one thing at a time. So let's start by looking around for something red. I'll help move us through the colors. And like I said, it's okay if you don't find something for each color. Just do your best to look carefully. How about something orange? Yellow? for something green. Next is blue. Indigo. That's like a blue and purple together. And finally, look for something violet or purple. Were you able to find some objects that represented those colors? What kind of things did you notice? Did you look at maybe one space or one area and find lots of different details that had those colors? I know that there are many colors around my chalkboard here. Maybe that was helpful for you while you were looking mindfully. Friends, thank you so much for practicing that mindful moment with me, and thanks for being here today to solve mystery and practice being detectives. If you would like to continue to solve my mystery riddles and practice being mindful and hear about more wonderful books, then please remember to like and subscribe. I hope you make it a great rest of the day. Sending you off with some love if you want it, a hug if you'd like it, and I'll see you next time.